we know that a great congruent statement, you don't have to write this down because it's in front of you, in front of the room, names the shapes, talks about the rigid motion using the word map, and has specific details about that rigid motion. So we don't just say reflect or translate, we give a detail. So we're looking at these two shapes, and I want you right now to tell me write a congruent statement about how specifically a triangle ABC is congruent to a triangle ABC prime. So let's take a look and see if you're right. There's one huge issue with this problem that people have been having every year I've taught this. So let's go through our congruence list. The name. So triangle, it's okay if you just wrote figure. Triangle ABC is congruent, complete sentences, to triangle A prime, B prime, C prime, because they, my favorite word, map, that should be a lowercase m, sorry, I'm not redoing this video, by a question 2, right? They map by a what? This is clearly a translation. There is no, A is still closest to my left hand, and C is still closest to my right hand here too. Its orientation does not change. So it's a translation. Let me go ahead and number this for you. So this is 2, and then this is 1 on my CFS list. So I'm done with 1, I'm done with 2, and now I need to do 3, a specific detail of, and this is where people get caught up. I need point A to map to point A prime. So a lot of people, what they did is they mapped C onto A prime, and that's not true. If C maps onto A prime, this entire shape is still not going to map on. It's just going to connect at that corner. So we need A to go to A prime. So I can count on my paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So by a translation of 7 units, and I went from left to right. I went right, right. And that is a perfect congruent statement. If you do not have that, you need to write that in that box on this paper. It will be checked. So for today, we're actually going to be doing most of our work on the computer on the Socrata program. But don't go to anywhere yet. Just keep with me on this video. We're going to go through what I want your work to look like so that you can get 100% on this assignment. So pretend this is on the computer. So on your paper, in your handout, it'll say example question, graph is on the computer, which means that this won't be here. All of this will be on the computer. So let's take a look at it. It says, what is the coordinate of vertex C prime after a reflection over the x-axis? So we're not going to write on this because this is on the computer. So we're going to take notes every time you see show your thinking work or write an explanation that proves you did not guess. No guessing for you. You may not, I need to see that you've put effort and thought into every problem, and because you cannot write on the computer, you are going to hand this in and I need to see this. So here, I'm thinking, okay, this is, again, I can't underline the word reflection here because it's on the computer. So this is I might write reflection like this. And it says over the x-axis. So I might draw an x-axis like we normally do and draw my line and my triangle is here. So let's go ahead and do that. So like this work is fine. You've done the thinking. I know you have not guessed. So now we can go ahead and look at the answer. So now that you have this on your paper, I want you to put in the answer to this question. The answer to this question is, absolutely, if this reflects down, it looks like this. C prime, A, B. A prime, C prime. And I can look for the coordinate. Well, it's down here, so this y is going to be negative, right? So this So it's not, and I guess I can write A, B, C, D here. It's not A because 2, 1 is right here, and that's where point A is. It wants to be point C prime. 2, 4 is still positive. Negative 2, 4 is this way, which reflected over the y-axis, so my answer here is D. So this work is fine. You don't even need this bottom part. Oh no, there's a follow-up question. So on your computer, you would click D, but don't submit it, answer the follow-up question. What would the M means measure of angle prime be? Explain how you know. Well, go ahead. The measure of angle A prime will be 90 degrees because it is congruent to the measure of angle A, which is 90 degrees. Done. Now, let's talk about how to get on Socrative. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to open a new tab up at the top. Once you're at Socrative.com, you need to click on Student Login. It's now going to ask you for your room name. You need to type in KLA 8 Math and then press Join. Then you're going to enter your name, first name and then last name. So if I'm Barack Obama, I'm going to type in Barack Obama and then press Done. My first question is going to pop up. This is the first question on the next page. It is a little hard to see, so I might have to click on the picture to zoom in and see the question. The question is also on your paper. Remember, I'm going to pick either true or false, and then I'm also going to answer the questions on my paper that relate to question 1. If I select, let's just say, either of these answers, and I need to move on, I'll press the next one. And oh, on my paper it wants me to answer a question, then you can just go back. Okay? When you are done at the end, you'll press Finish Quiz, and it'll tell you haven't done these questions. You can go back, and then it'll give you your score. There are 2 non-gradable questions because these questions are short answers, so it'll give you your grade out of the percent that you got right. Remember that you need to fill in the boxes to these questions by hand when I'm asking you to. So there are different parts, especially for this one I just showed you, part A, where there are these questions. It says, now that you've answered it in Socrative, you need to do everything in the box that I'm asking to do. For question number 5, you do part A in the Socrative, so you don't have to do it on your paper, but part B on your paper. I'm very clear. Good luck. We're at a voice level 0. Again, you must do it both on Socrative and on the paper, because if you do not finish, we can just take the paper and the computer part and work on that later. So do not rush. Take your time. Get these correct. And I'm excited to update our tracker when I get back on Monday. Good afternoon.